some folks on the other side. Right, we need some folks over there. Some tall guys.
Tall guys? Tall people. Oh, she said tall. She said tall. Yeah.
It was too late.
You had already committed. You were in? Yeah. No, she said tall. Mary, you said tall and Charles came over here. No, it's not. Good morning and welcome to the Joint Operational Media Brief. I welcome to the podium Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava.
Thank you. Here we are, day 12. It's hard to believe that it's been 12 long days. I'm proud to provide an update that last night's demolition of the remaining portion of the Champlain Tower South was executed exactly as planned. The demolition began at 10:30 p.m. and the building fell as was planned towards Collins Avenue. Only dust landed on the existing pile. And a little over an hour afterward, we received the all clear. And then right around midnight, work commenced on the pile, and by 1 a.m., we were in full search and rescue operation mode. To collapse an entire apartment building is a devastating decision, and the demolition was in no way a decision that I made lightly. Bringing the building down in a controlled manner was critical to expanding our scope of search. Truly, we could not continue without bringing this building down. Closest to the building was the area that we had not been able to access, and that is where we needed to go. And previously it was not accessible due to the enormous risk to the team of first responders because of the instability of the building. And as we speak, the teams are working on that part of the pile that was not accessible before the building was demolished. The standing structure also posed a threat to public health and safety, particularly as the storm approached, given that the tropical storm force winds could have brought it down in a manner that could not have been as controlled and predicted. So I am extraordinarily grateful to the demolition team, the engineers, the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Team, the Miami-Dade County Police Department, and everyone who played an integral part in executing this operation safely and successfully, including the town of Surfside. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and reflect on the great tragedy that this has been for those who've survived the building and have had to evacuate. The world is mourning for those who lost their loved ones and for those who are waiting for news from the collapse. To lose your home and all your belongings in this manner is a great loss as well, and my heart and deepest sympathies goes out to all of the families who have had this tragedy. Our teams are doing everything possible to help those who lost their homes begin to rebuild. FEMA is here and has been from the beginning, and they've been doing an incredible job to sign up families for individual assistance. And we're working with insurance companies to streamline the process of submitting claims as much as possible. And we've raised millions of dollars thanks to the generosity of people in this country and all around the world. Their generosity has been overwhelming, and it is going to be very, very important to put these funds into these families' hands to help them to rebuild and meet their unmet needs, and they have already been getting this assistance. I also want to stress once again that we took every action that we possibly could to search for any pets, any animals in the building prior to the demolition. In the days since the collapse, the Miami-Dade Fire Rescue Team conducted multiple full sweeps of the building in person, including searching in closets and under beds and other hiding places. In the areas of the building that were not accessible to the teams, they used ladders on high-lift cranes, and they placed live animal traps on the balconies at great personal risk to our first responders. Also, doorways were opened, other means for the pets to escape the building if they were able. We deployed drones with thermal imaging on numerous trips over the rubble pile and also standing in the tower in areas unsafe for search and rescue teams to enter. So I want to say as clearly as I possibly can and urge our community to understand that we went truly to great lengths to take every step that we could at great risk to our first responders to ensure that all of the pets that were beloved family members, that none of them were left in the building prior to the demolition. Since the first responders were able to resume their work on the collapse last night, we have very sadly recovered 3 additional victims. The total number of confirmed deaths is now at 27. The number of those accounted for is 191 and unaccounted for 118. Please join me in praying for those who lost their lives, the families who mourn, and for all of those who are still waiting. We continue to monitor Tropical Storm Elsa and expect that Miami-Dade will mostly experience heavy rain and some winds throughout today and tomorrow. I was grateful to have the opportunity to speak with some of the first responders on site last night, right after the demolition, before they headed back out to the pile. On day 12, these men and women have continued their mission. They have the same determination and strength as when they got out on day 1. It is a true honor to serve alongside these heroes and sheroes from the state, from the federal, and from the international teams, all of our partners who've made this historic effort possible. Me enorgullece ofrecer una actualización de que la demolición de anoche de Champlain Tower Sur se ejecutó exactamente como estaba planeado. La demolición comenzó a las 10:30 de la noche y en poco más de 1 hora recibimos el todo claro. Alrededor de la medianoche se reanudó el trabajo y la 1 de la madrugada nuestra operación de búsqueda y rescate comenzó nuevamente. Derrumbar todo un edificio de apartamentos es una decisión extremadamente difícil y la demolición no fue de ninguna manera una decisión que tomé a la ligera. Derribar el edificio de manera controlada fue fundamental para expandir nuestros esfuerzos de búsqueda en la pila más cercana al edificio que anteriormente no era accesible para nuestros equipos. También quiero tomarme un momento para reconocer y reflexionar sobre la gran tragedia que es para aquellos que sobrevivieron al edificio y fueron evacuados. El mundo entero está de luto con los que perdieron a sus seres queridos y los que esperan noticias del colapso. Perder su casa y todas sus cosas de esta manera también es una gran pérdida, y mi corazón y mi más sentido pésame están con todas las familias. Nuestros equipos están haciendo todo lo posible para ayudar a quienes perdieron sus hogares a comenzar a reconstruir. FEMA está aquí y ha estado haciendo un trabajo increíble al inscribir a las familias para recibir asistencia individual, y muchos ya han recibido. También quiero enfatizar una vez más que tomamos todas las medidas posibles para buscar animales en el edificio antes de la demolición. Quiero decirlo con la mayor claridad posible y instar a nuestra comunidad a que comprenda que hicimos todo lo posible y tomamos todos los pasos que pudimos con gran riesgo para nuestros socorristas, para asegurarnos de que no quedaron animales en el edificio antes de la demolición. Desde que los primeros en responder pudieron reanudar su trabajo en el colapso, lamentablemente hemos recuperado a 3 víctimas adicionales. El número total de muertes confirmados ahora es 27. Las personas contabilizadas son 191 y desaparecidas son 118. Otra vez, oremos por aquellos que perdieron la vida, las familias que están de luto y los que están esperando. Continuamos monitoreando la tormenta tropical Elsa y esperamos que Miami-Dade experimente principalmente lluvias intensas y algunos vientos hoy y mañana. Estamos en el día 12 y los hombres y mujeres continúan su misión con la misma determinación, la misma fuerza de voluntad que lo hicieron el primer día. Yo lo vi. Es un gran honor para mí servir junto a estos héroes. Nuestros extraordinarios equipos de Condado de Miami-Dade y todos los socios estatales, federales e internacionales que han hecho posible esta operación. Mi corazón está con ellos y con toda nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Vice Chair for the Board of County Commissioner, Commissioner Oliver Gilbert.
Good morning. I don't have much to add more than what the mayor said. First, I would just like to thank her for her leadership and her strength in this. It's important because when you get elected mayor, you don't think that this is going to happen. We don't prepare for stuff like this. And so watching her serve and lead through this has been truly, it's been my honor to serve and lead with her because that's what leadership is. It's getting something that's unanticipated and doing the very best you can and bringing people together while you do it. Look, 12 days ago, I think I stood in front of a microphone and I said that we're going to work, we're going to pray, and we're going to get through this together. And that's what we're doing. We're praying, we're working, and we're getting through this together. That takes different forms. Last night, the building came down, so that allows us to expand our search. That's the work that has to take place. You know, as we move forward in this process, I just want everybody not to forget the praying part. Because we're still praying to possibly find survivors. We're praying for peace and answers for the family, and we're praying that we can find the information. We can figure out exactly why this happened. Because this is this side of the microphone, and I'm sure that all of them would agree, is the worst place in the world in a situation like this. You don't ever want to be delivering bad news to a community because it's not just those families that are hurt. It's the entire community. The weight of that building coming down, those buildings coming down, is on this entire community. And it's been a long ride for us. Look, it's not lost on me that we celebrated the 4th of July yesterday. And we didn't actually celebrate, not like we do. But last year we didn't actually celebrate like we do either because of COVID. And so it seems like we've been in this kind of malaise for a while as a community. My commitment, her commitment, our commitment is that we're going to pray and we're going to get through this and come out of this together. I know that we can do that. I know that we will do that. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. National Weather Service, Robert Molleda.
Good morning. We're tracking Tropical Storm Elsa near the south coast of Cuba this morning. Although the forecast has the center of the storm passing closer to the west coast of Florida, we will still feel some intermittent showers, especially tonight and tomorrow. And these showers and thunderstorms will have some brief but gusty winds, and these winds could still be quite strong across the area, as well as locally heavy rain and localized flooding possible, and even the possibility of 1 or 2 tornadoes across South Florida. So this is for a time frame of tonight and tomorrow. En español, seguimos siguiendo la tormenta tropical Elsa, que está cerca de la costa sur de Cuba, aunque el centro de la tormenta se espera que esté más cerca de la costa oeste de la Florida. Aquí en el sureste de la Florida vamos a experimentar vientos fuertes en ráfagas con estas lluvias que van a pasar sobre nuestra zona esta tarde y también esta noche y mañana, tanto como posibles inundaciones debido a estas lluvias fuertes y la posibilidad de 1 o 2 tornados. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Molleda. Division Director for Office of Emergency Management, Deputy Incident Commander Charles Sorrell.
Good morning, everyone. Residents and visitors are urged to continue monitoring Tropical Storm Elsa as it makes its closest approach to South Florida. Starting this evening, residents should avoid any unnecessary travel, as strong winds and heavy rains may make driving hazardous. If you have any questions, you can always call 311. Their hotline is open between hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. Residents can also access disaster-related information 24 hours a day on what to do before, during, and after a storm at miamidade.gov/hurricane. Due to our own preparation, we continue to work at the county's Emergency Operations Center. Later today, we will begin implementing plans to redeploy our assets at the collapse site. Our Office of Communications will provide you with information as necessary as to when we will move and the hours and times of our future briefings. Details on future briefings. The Family Assistance Center will maintain service hours between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m. daily. Our total number of families served to date is 127. FEMA, as we have all been in a unified command, is also supporting our efforts. In order to access information on individual assistance for families, survivors, please go to fema.gov/disaster/3560. Anyone who has been impacted by this tragedy or wanting to stay up to date with the latest information regarding our response at Surfside can visit that website that I just mentioned or miamidade.gov/emergency. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Para traducirle lo que dijo el comandante del incidente, Charles Doral, le voy a traducir. Residentes y nuestros visitantes se le urge que continúen monitoreando la tormenta tropical Elsa mientras se va acercando al sur de la Florida esta tarde y la noche. Empezando esta noche, se le pide a los residentes que no estén manejando por las simples razones que pueden haber fuertes vientos y también lluvias que lo hacen muy peligroso. Si tiene cualquier otra pregunta, pueden ir a la línea del 311 que van a estar operando de 8 de la mañana hasta las 7 de la noche para recibir más información. Residentes pueden también acceder a información 24 horas al día al miamidade.gov/hurricane. Parte de nuestra propia preparaciones, también vamos a estar continuando trabajando aquí del Centro de Operación de Emergencia del Condado, localizado en el Doral. Más tarde en el día vamos a estar implementando planes para poder mandar recursos necesarios hacia el sitio del colapso. Más información de las localizaciones o las horas de informes breves van a estar proveídas por la Oficina de Comunicación del Condado. El Centro de Asistencia Familiar va a mantener su servicio durante las horas de 12 de la tarde hasta las 5 de la tarde diariamente. El número total de familias que han asistido es 127. FEMA también ha apoyado todos nuestros esfuerzos y también para los servicios de las familias que han sido impactadas y ha lanzado una página fema.gov/disaster/3560. Cualquier persona que haya sido impactada por esta tragedia o se quieren permanecer a información al día pueden utilizar este link para poder ayudarlo de este momento en adelante. Y en este momento, and at this time, our Creole translator, Lionel Letterbourg.
Mesdames et messieurs, bonjour. Jeudi, nous atteint 12 jours après que l'incident est arrivé. Jeudi, nous avons confirmé que j'en nous prévoit il y a une démolition qui est faite sur ce site là pour reste bâtiment qui peut tomber. Ça fait hier soir à 10h30 dans la soirée. Donc, Kounia parti ça, il est à terre. L'équipe nous enterrée était sur place et l'équipe là travaille à partir de 1h du matin à recherche. Et nous sommes capables de dire que démolir un building, on partit dans un building, c'est une grosse décision que liée. Et nous avons fait ça parce que la structure représente un grand danger pour les gens qui travaillent sur le site. Pour le moment, FEMA sur place, la travaille avec tout acharnement que nous connaissons et il a fait tout ça pour nous capables de vivre dans la phase rebâtie. Il y a plusieurs millions de dollars qui sont ramassés et pour qu'on y a nous capables de dire gens qui ont inquiétude pour animal domestique que gagnent Moun sa yo nous fait tout effort pour nous capable chercher. Gen moun qui prend échelle, gen moun qui cherche en bas cabane, dans côté qui est accessible, gen côté qui fait recherche qui fait dans la closette pour nous chercher animal sa yo, y compris nous servir avec drone pour qui gain effet thermique pour capable faire recherche yo. Nous fait tout ça nous capable pour animal domestique sa yo. Hier soir, dans des combio, yo joine 3 morts additionnels. Et ça qui portait chiffre à 27 morts. Moun que nous rejoignons à niveau 191 pour le moment. Elsa a approché et ça capable passer dans Miami-Dade capable de gros la pluie d'ici fin journée avec journée demain. Pour le moment, l'équipe secouriste a travaillé en pile, nous avons parlé avec eux récemment. Ça que nous sommes capables de dire que nous étions avec les gens qui ont souffert et nous sympathiser avec eux. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Arable. We're going to go into questions and answers. We also have present here Deputy Fire Chief Arthur Holmes, along with the Miami-Dade Police Department Director, Freddie Ramirez. So please raise your hand, wait until you're called upon, and address the speaker. Willard?
For Chief Holmes, please. Sir, several days ago, Chief Kaminsky indicated that we had been through about 3 million pounds of this equipment earlier during the week of the debris. Now, obviously, more of that has come down. Do you have any idea how much more you have to deal with now, even though you have access to the site? And the work plan for that, obviously, this is a tedious process. Do you have any update on those numbers?
I don't have any updates on the numbers of pounds now. But with the building down, we're able to focus on that area that we was trying to get to that was causing a threat to our personnel. But I can get you that number later on.
Is there any number about what, on an average workday, you will be able to get through to get the director the things that his department needs to do the investigation, and of course the family members, the recovery, any artifacts? Is there an idea of any amount of time that it's going to take per day to go through this?
We're working 24 hours a day. We have two 12-hour blocks. We have teams on it in the afternoon and teams on it at night. We're working 24 hours a day.
Thank you very much.
Mayor Cava, first of all, congratulations to the entire team on a successful mission last night. We all feel it for you, and there's a sense of relief, I think, in the community and in this room. You mentioned now that you can access the area closest to the building, which I imagine was not accessible earlier. Can you tell us what all of you anticipate finding there, and what's happening today also with the audit and the investigation as we move forward?
So this pile closest to the building was actually holding the building up. And so therefore it was not safe to do search activities on that part of the pile. So that was, apart from the impending storm, we wanted to move that building if we could safely do so, so that we could gain access to that pile. So that is the focus of our efforts right now. We're looking for voids, again, where someone may have been able to be inside. And so that is the purpose of the search right now. As yes, so this investigation is going to be ongoing. It's very complicated. The state attorney has indicated she would ask the grand jury to get involved. We have the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST. They have been active on the site. They did LiDAR photographing of the existing structure before it came down. They have teams that have been exploring every part of the building that they had access to. They have been interviewing people, and so the investigation will continue over a long period of time.
Yes, question in Spanish on the tropical storm side. The effects that you described, is that happening, I believe, on Wednesday for South Florida in Spanish? And will that affect the rescue effort, even if it's not a direct impact? The rains, the possible winds, is that going to affect the search effort?
Sí, los impactos de las lluvias, de los vientos, sería para esta noche y mañana principalmente. Hemos estado, bueno, desde que esto empezó, hemos estado llamando, por eso, llamando a personas que están, al personal que están ahí en el sitio, avisándoles cuando hay mal tiempo aproximándose a la zona. O sea, y estos esfuerzos van a continuar.
Pero la búsqueda puede continuar durante el paso de los efectos de la tormenta.
Bueno, yo no puedo contestar eso específicamente, solo, o sea, en cuanto a los informes del tiempo, nosotros avisamos a los que están en el sitio si hay mal tiempo, o sea, por ejemplo, relámpagos o fuertes lluvias o fuertes vientos aproximándose a la zona. Entonces ellos toman las acciones apropiadas.
Excuse me. También puedo decir, los vientos hasta 30 millas por hora podemos seguir y solamente por relámpagos terminamos un poquito.
Mayor, as far as Tropical Storm Elsa, and you addressed it well, but I just want to know, is there a threshold where you, once it's, the elements start
Right.
happening, where do you look at the threshold as far as ceasing operations?
So, as I just said in Spanish, it's about 30 miles per hour. I know, okay. It's
Did you go back to school?
You do. We go to about 30 miles per hour. Wind is safe to conduct the search and only otherwise leave for lightning.
And then the other one, 12 days, 27 deceased. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more deceased, but everyone in this room and everyone in the world wants there to be a miracle. But how hard is it to avoid saying this is a recovery mission?
We worked very hard to bring this building down so we could get access to this pile, where it is hoped that there are voids that will allow us to continue the search and rescue operation. So that is what we are doing today.
Mayor Cava, a specific follow-up to the investigation. Is there a design flaw being looked at in the building, in the Champlain buildings, and are the police part of that investigation?
You want to answer that, Freddie?
Good morning. Like the mayor stated earlier, there are other investigators involved in this process, very preliminary. Right now, the scope of the Miami-Dade Police Department is a death investigation. Our goal is to work with fire rescue to recover family members and make those notifications. As this moves forward, we'll have those linear investigations, and we'll be working under the scope of our state attorney, Kathy Rundle, who's also involved in this process. But right now, the scope is recovering family members.
And preserving evidence.
Exactly, preserving evidence.
And what about the design? Is a possible design flaw being looked at?
We're too early in this process to really start discussing those things. Right now, as I discussed, those entities are in a fact-finding mode, and we're focusing on recovering victims right now. But this will be a long process, as has been stated, and it'll be very thorough.
Thank you.
Good. Correct. Can I ask the fire chief a question? Regarding rescue personnel looking under beds for pets, when did that happen? Was that the first day? Was that June 24th, or was that more recent?
Doug, it happened as of yesterday that they were at great risk to themselves, searching inside those units that had been indicated might have pets and searching very thoroughly.
So rescue personnel were sent into that building to look for pets under beds
Correct.
in person?
Correct.
And could I just follow up with this? If this were to become a recovery operation, what would we see differently in terms of the search? Would anything change, or would it be a change in the label?
No, nothing would change. Nothing would change.
Nothing would change.
Nothing would change.
Just the label and who would be in charge of it.
Correct.
Ma'am?
Thank you, Mayor. It has been 12 days, and it has been very long time, and a lot of people are asking how long does it take for the rescue, and can you give us a specific timeline, days, weeks, months, and how likely do you think there are still people alive under the rubble?
So we are on day 12, and obviously the longer we go, the harder it is. However, we have just opened the possibility of search in an area where there may be voids, and that is where we're concentrating our efforts.
And for the victims, the families of the victims, except insurance, what kind of other remedies will they get from the county or from the state?
So we have on site the counselors with FEMA, with the State Department of Emergency Management, the private sector that is handling donations that have been given generously from around the world. We have counselors, relocation assistance experts. We are with these families as long as it takes to help them, not just for those who must bury loved ones, but beyond.
The international rescue team, what kind of role are they playing in this rescue?
So we had international rescue workers from both Israel and Mexico that joined the team. They were embedded along with the task force members and were fully involved in the search and rescue operation.
One final question. We're good. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you,
Do you know
guys.
what time the next presser might be? Probably 6:30. Thank you.
Here?
Yes, we're planning for it to be here.
Yeah, we're planning to do it here just because of the weather conditions.
Okay. So there won't be any.
It would just be here. Yeah, we'll send out an update.
Starting now.
He already started.
They're actually about 10 minutes.
Oh, they already did.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're done, but I saw it.
That's fine.
Yeah, he started.
How's this look? Oh, did he? In Creole?
Mayor.
Makes me want to go to NOLA. Come on, bro.
All those years,
Right.
some of you, but you know I spent.
Right. Well, yeah. It's like living on the border.
I have no excuse.
You know what? I knew it well. Pretty well. Then I thought, well, I'm going to so alike. I don't mean
It blew up all your Spanish.
Oh, yeah. And then she can talk to you after.
Yeah, we're right next to it.
Yeah, just reach out to me. Thank you for all you guys are doing. I'm grateful.
Jennifer.
We're based in DC.